everyone. I'm Victoria Valdez. I'm the owner of Tri-Synergy Counseling, and I'm also a marriage and family therapist who specializes working with kids and teens and adult women. And I'm super excited. Today we are interviewing Sonya Reed, who works at Tri-Synergy Counseling, and this is an honor in celebrating and honoring Black History Month and just really connecting our awesome Black community members to Black therapists. So Sonya, tell us about you. Sonya, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sonya Reed. I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up in East Nashville. I lived there all my life, decided to go away to college, to Berea College in Kentucky, where I got a degree in child and family therapy. And now I'm officially getting my master's in marriage and family therapy with a specific interest in systemic sex therapy. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. I think therapy work is amazing, all therapists, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I have a special heart for us MFTs, right?
Yeah.
But I love all the therapists, whatever your qualification, you guys do an amazing job. I love the systems thinking. So thank you so much for sharing about your journey. So yes, tell us about what made you want to be a therapist. What made you go, this is a profession I want?
I think I've always low-key been a therapist all my life. I truly feel like I've always been the one in the family that my friends or family members can come and talk to. I've always been the one that people can vent to, and I've always been the one to just give sound advice. I have no idea where I get that gift from. I just have it. So naturally, I would look into therapy. I shied away from therapy just because of how it's looked at in the Black community. And so I was like, I don't really know about that. So I did something else in undergrad when really I should have kept psychology as a major and continued with that course. But I decided to shift away just because I was afraid. So here I am back at it again in my master's program. And that's how we got here to being a therapist. Is really just because I feel like I've always been one.
I love that. You have a natural, in meeting you, like you just have a natural inclination of like listening. I noticed that about you, Sonya. You're very authentic a listener. You're very compassionate listener, and you have a very positive outlook. And so I think those are some really good qualities of being a therapist. You know, I also wanted to say that I loved hearing about the whole you came full circle. Girl, you came full circle, right? I can share. Now, I can't say all Latinos are the same, but a lot of in the Latino community have that shared experience of like, right. Oh, we don't know about therapy. We ain't supposed to tell nobody anything, you know, like, and so, yeah, I never imagined I'd be a therapist, and here I am. So I share that in that with you. So I love that you came full circle, and what a powerful way that we can show up for our communities of like, hey, look at us. Like, it won't be so bad. You can come and find us and we can work through this therapy thing, you know? Yeah. So tell me, you talked about a little bit about your specialization in your program. Tell us what people do you really enjoy? Like, I know that marriage and family therapy, like we're trained to help everyone, but we also have some extra like passions or extra trainings on things. So tell me about what's the population you really love to help, or extra training that you have to help. Yeah. Who do you feel like really drawn to helping and supporting?
As far as married couples, I truly am drawn to those couples who are just now starting out, building that foundation of working their way towards marriage, trying to really get to the core of like them knowing who they are individually, before bridging that gap together. So those are truly the people that I want to work with when it comes to the marriage portion of it. Families, I have always been a big family person. No matter what, I've always wanted to see families thrive and succeed, because you really don't know who anybody is unless you know truly where they came from and their foundation. You just can't take people at face value anymore. We truly have to understand who people are. And so I truly believe that family is the foundation of where we come from and who we are. And as far as systemic sex therapy, I've always been interested in sex, even as a kid, but not in the way of like wanting to have it. I've always been awkwardly interested in it. Like, why are people having sex? Why are they interested in it? I'm not. What's going on over there? So I've always had questions, but again, I didn't want to pursue that because as an African-American woman, pursuing anything in sex is taboo. You know, it's not something that we do. So that's the thing that I want to break down, is the barriers surrounding people of color and going to therapy, no matter if it's for individual, couple, sex, music, play. There's a million different types of therapy out there.
Yeah, I love hearing about kind of the taboo, tying that in, and how it's so needed, because I think, at least speaking for my own Latino experience and in the Latino community, also feeling shared, like it's this taboo we don't talk about. My parents didn't talk about it. There's all these questions, and even just in our identity, and you know, having a supportive, safe place to explore like what our thoughts are or our
Mhm.
experiences around that. So I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you feel really passionate about serving, or anything else?
I am super duper passionate about working with mothers who have are family, not just mothers, but specifically, I'm here for the moms. But I'm very passionate about working with families of children with disabilities and developmental delays. Like, that is my heart, because I feel like oftentimes those families don't have enough time because they're, too busy with being a super mom, right? Because we got capes on, but they're super moms, like,
Yeah.
because they have to deal with stuff that we don't have to deal with in our
Mhm.
everyday parenting. So I really want to be there for those moms and dads, aunts, uncles, whoever is the primary guardian of that child, just to show them and prove to them that they deserve time. They deserve to understand themselves, their family, their culture, everything too. And they deserve that time to get themselves out, to vent, to cry, to whatever it causes that they may need.
Yeah, I love that. I love your heart, hearing about like you want to help them realize that, like, yes, they've got this amazing child that has some challenges that we other right, no one understands but them, right?
Yeah.
But also like taking care of ourselves, right? So I love that. I think that's really awesome. So if that sounds, anyone listening to that, that sounds like, oh, I could use some of that. Well, Sonia's where it's at.
Yeah.
That rhymed and I didn't mean it to.
Yeah. I'm here for you.
Yes,
And
I
you and you
love
and
it.
you.
I love that. Um, so what is there anything in your services that you offer for mental health that stands out, as far as even like oh, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry. We covered that question a little bit. I was about to get in some deeper, but I was like, you know what? Let's segue into here. I want people to hear about what is it like to do therapy with Sonia. Like what is that experience like for them? How does therapy with you work?
I feel like whether you're coming to me for, things related to yourself, working with your family, things related to sex or sexual dysfunction, I believe that coming to me, I truly seek to understand who you are. The whole basis of this systemic therapy is that it doesn't just focus in on one thing. It focuses in on everything, our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors surrounding life in general. So I seek to create a therapy space where people can feel comfortable. They can feel open, to where it doesn't feel like I'm the therapist. I'm sitting on one side of the table and you're sitting on the opposite side of the table and I'm just here taking notes. I don't want it to feel like that. I truly want it to feel like a conversation with someone where you just get to be open and explore who you are and just tell it like it is, pretty much.
Mhm.
Because oftentimes we struggle with going to therapy, and I say we, meaning BIPOC people, we
Yeah.
struggle with going to therapy because we feel like, how can that person help us?
Mhm.
We got Jesus, we got
Mhm.
our own family that can give us advice, we got our friends that can give, anybody but a therapist can give you advice, when we have to truly understand that therapists are literally trained to ask the
Mhm.
questions that everybody else doesn't answer or are afraid to answer, or
Yes.
ask you. So
Yes.
that is the key point that, like, I want people to take away, is that's what we need. Yes, we have friends. Yes, we have the church. Yes, you have family. You have all these amazing people in your life. But if you've been in the same spot for the past 6 months to 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then 9 times out of 10, you might need to reach out to somebody else who has a
Mhm.
different aspect on it, or isn't biased when it comes to whatever you're saying. So that's important to
Yes.
me. That's the type of therapy that I want to bring. Just that open connectedness, just like we are right now, that back and forth. where I'm listening. I'm asking those open-ended questions to get you to dig deeper. And then at the end of it, like, we wrap up, we leave on a good note. We feel like we're ready for the next week or so of whenever we see each other again. Like, we have those tools that can get us to the next session or beyond if needed.
Yes, I love that. I love also just highlighting about how, yes, we might have some really good support systems in our family or our church or whatnot. And I again, we have shared experience with the Latino community. I love that, like, the same thing for my community. They're like, well, I don't want to, because, they don't want to talk. They might lean on their family, but also, like, how awesome it is to not have chismosos, right? That's what we call it, like, where someone's gossiping, right? So it's great to have a therapist because we're holding everything for you.
Right.
We don't have nobody to tell because we legally can't tell nobody.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about that. I think and we're truly, I love just adding to what you're saying, is you're truly trained to hold space and to not judge them. You literally. And so I love that. And that's the space that you get to offer them. Awesome. Awesome. So, excuse me. So what would you, for any therapist, this is for the therapists out there. So if you're not a therapist and you're listening, still great to hear. But if you're a therapist and you're listening, what are some key takeaways or tips or strategies or cultural considerations that a therapist who is not from the Black community or not BIPOC, that they could do to really make the therapy better, or to understand more, or to be more supportive? Anything?
I truly say, like, one, do your research on the culture, any culture that you're working with, not just the Black community, but any culture that you're working with. I would say do your research, not just the academic research that you can go and find all these different sources and writings and people to tell you what the people that are around you that may be of that culture, you might want to ask them a few things before working with somebody in that culture, especially if you don't have a clue. Because the reason that a lot of BIPOC people shy away from therapy is because they feel like they have to over-explain. Like, we have to over-explain everything, whereas if you go to somebody who is a BIPOC therapist, there's something about it that you don't have to explain. And so for people who are non-BIPOC and are doing therapy with people who are, I would just say, like, get to know the person that you're working with and truly understand where they're coming from. There's not a book that you can read. There's not a documentary that you can watch. This is truly the interactions that you have with that therapist. And therapy across the board is going to look similar, but specifically with people who are BIPOC, there's a certain level of the possibility of this person might not come back to therapy. So let's make this appointment one of the best ones, and they can truly see why therapy works, because that's what you're trying to do in those first couple of appointments, is win them over, no matter what your race or ethnicity is. You're trying to win over that person to show them that, like, I am here for you. I can get you to the next phase. Just, like, trust me with your words, and I can get you there. So no matter who you are, just get to know them and trust them, and also give it a few sessions. Give it a few sessions, get to know them, ask them about their likes and dislikes, really build up that rapport with the person that you're with, because you have to believe that there's something about it that's like, I don't really know if I should be here. So, and that's probably what everybody across the board that comes to therapy is, that I don't really know if I'm going to come back. So it is the truth of winning them over by truly getting to understand who they are and why they came to therapy in the first place.
Yeah, I love that so much. And just being able to apply that to all cultures. But and I love I heard you saying, like, being curious, right? Asking them, like, and to something that I do too is just, like, if I'm going to ask a question from someone that isn't, similar to me, and I always say, hey, I'm really curious about this, and please let me know if I didn't ask this in an appropriate way. I do not want to come off in any type of offensive way. So please, if I didn't, say something, right? And so just coming from that cultural humility, being humble and, like, I'm going to ask and be curious, and also let them know that, like, hey, it's a safe place for you to correct me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Um,
Look, I am not the end all to be all, the expert in all things that have to do with therapy. So if at any point you feel like I've said something wrong, I've stated something wrong, please let me know. And just be transparent, because I want them to come back. Come back.
yes.
So if I
that.
offend you, please let me know, because I want you to come back. Like, I want you to get the help that you came here seeking and not feel defeated on, well, that was a waste of my time. So
Yes, and I love that you brought that up, and this is the last time I'll say about that, because it's so important that sometimes we had an interaction that may have been confusing, or we felt like maybe they were so we were offended by them, and then we'd say, you know what, screw it, we ain't coming back.
yeah.
But therapy is a place to say, hey, I didn't like that this happened, because a good therapist will be like, listen, right? And they will listen, and they will learn, and they will change, and they will work through that with you, versus I'm not coming back anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of the transformation, is learning to have those repairs and build a relationship when someone made an error, right? So that I love that you're amazing, Sonya. I love that you brought that up. My last question, well, I have two more questions. One of them is, what advice, and I feel like we kind of talked about it a little bit, but just in case we missed anything, any advice that you could give for someone that comes from a family background or a culture that's just not so therapy friendly, because like you said, they feel scared, maybe they had a bad relationship, we're just trusting, therapy doesn't work, whatever. What could you say to them to kind of help them swing over to the side of like, let me just try it?
I would first and foremost say that trusting themselves is number one. Like, you have to trust yourself that this is something that you want to do, not your mom is making you do it, grandma, somebody else wants you to do it because they feel like it's a good service. It truly has to be something that you want to do. And then I truly just thank them for their courage in wanting to understand more about themselves or their current concerns or their current issues. I would want them to know that I truly appreciate that you came to sit right here in front of me. And I truly appreciate that, because you didn't have to. You know what I mean? Because they have to know that they're wanted in that space. And that's why we create these open, safe spaces, so that we can have people come in and want to come back, to make it feel like it's somewhere that they're actually in a safe space working on their current issues. So yeah, I would just truly put it on them and say, hey, you got to make sure that it's something that you want to do. Like, if you're coming because of somebody else, then 9 times out of 10, you're not going to make it to where you want to go. But it's truly you, and it takes all the courage in the world, and to be truly appreciative of that person when they walk through your doors, because it could have took everything. It could have took, I made it to therapy, but I don't know if I want to get out this car and walk towards this door. Or I'm in the, that's why we even got to have good people at the front desk, because I can be sitting in the lobby and I can hear somebody at the front desk say something that I didn't like the tone of, and now I'm walking out. So that's why we got to have people who truly understand that, like, at any point, for anybody that walks through our doors, not just BIPOC people, but for anybody, that this could be the point where they turn around and decide that therapy is not for them. And so many people have already chosen that therapy is not for them. And for those people, I want to say, give it a try again. Find you a therapist who cares about what you do. Specifically research what type of therapy you want, what type of modalities that therapist use, and truly find you somebody who fits into your box of therapy. Because oftentimes people will just go to their insurance company and say, hey, I need therapy, or they'll go to whatever the local therapy office is and say, hey, I need therapy. And that's why you're placed with a therapist who is not on your same radar, because you're put with somebody that you didn't necessarily research and want. So please, if you're looking for therapy, take the time to research a therapist that you want, because walking through that doors can literally be life or death for some people. So take that and run with it. You know what I mean? Have that courage. Go and heal yourself, because we here. And I'm definitely here for you. So
yes. Oh, I felt so encouraged listening to you, Sonya. No, but I loved that so much, especially when you said like researching. Yes, like look on the website. If they have a professional social media, look at their so like
Yeah,
here at Tri Synergy, we do a lot of, trying to get you guys out there, right? We've got
yeah,
introduction videos, we do interview, so you can get a piece of what that person's like, right? And
yeah.
people today are learning about what it's like to have therapy with you. And I love this. So awesome. My last question for today is going to be, what does it mean for you, Sonya, to be Black?
To be awesome.
Yeah.
To hold space literally for people who look like me, the little girls who look like me, who want to grow up, who are thinking about different careers, to hold that space for them until they make it there. That's what it means. I'm holding space for everybody in my community until you make it to where you want to be and to surpass me for sure. So I'm here to hold that space, to be open, to have my doors open, to say, I'm here to work with you through whatever you need me to. That's what it means to be Black to me, and a Black woman in today's society who says, I am here for all things Black, but also for all things BIPOC too, and everybody in general. But truly, like for me, I'm here for all things Black. I want Black people to win,
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm here.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Especially really loved about hearing about that connection. Like when you said, for those little Black girls that are looking at, right, like representation, like that's the words that were coming in, being able to be that look like I'm here. You may have not have seen me anywhere else, meaning like you may not have seen another Black female therapist before.
Yeah.
You never maybe would be a Latina therapist, right? You may be never, right? We hear so representation. And so
Yes,
I
it
love
matters.
that.
It definitely
Yes.
matters.
Yes. So I love that so much. I enjoyed interviewing with you, Sonya, so much. Sonya is at Tri Synergy Counseling. She does virtual and in-person sessions.
Yeah.
She's got availability. She's ready to serve you guys. All you have to do is post it in the video comment section. You'll see how to contact her, how to get some sessions with her. So this is super exciting. Thank you so much, Sonya. I really enjoyed interviewing you.
Thank you for interviewing me and taking this time. Happy Black History Month, everybody.
Yes. Happy Black History Month.